Weep for those who dance on the graves of the freshly murdered. Weep for a sad society that praises baby killers. Weep for the Jewish people who are once again victims of pogrom and decapitations and annihilations. Shame on a society that celebrates these things, and shame on your foolishness not being able to distinguish between the Palestinian people and their legitimate claim towards statehood and nationhood, and psychopathic jihadi assholes. You need to be able to distinguish between one and the other and peel apart with some nuance, because if you've reached the extreme of being able to cheer on baby killers, there's something sick with you. Either you're too feeble-minded to appreciate, or you do appreciate perfectly well, and this is where you bet your cards. No one in Israel will ever celebrate. It's not true either. Israel does not go into wars with the intention of hurting and harming civilians. My enemies cannot say the same. And so there's a double standard that for some reason people wish to ignore. That's painful. Because once again, there's a lot of people clamoring for the death of Jews, and you want to hide behind some social justice, maybe, or you're just honest with yourself and you actually just clamor for the death of Jews. And once again, my people are the boogeyman. Like, what's going on here? It's really sad. It's really tragic. Yes, there is an occupation. Yes, you've basically painted dynamics where my people have very little other choice other than to defend ourselves and to be heavy-handed. Can you really blame us? For decades of bombings and killings and suicide and post-establishment of the State of Israel, you people perpetually tried to just kill Jews and bring terrorism. And these are challenging realities when you're talking about bringing down a state and attacking a state and attacking a people. The Palestinians had plenty of opportunities for statehood and they blew them all. So to some extent, yes, you can pity them, but like that does not demand the same empathy as terrorism. You're supporting terrorism. Shame on you. It's that simple. These people kill civilians. You seem to make some distinction because if they were blowing up people in Paris and Madrid and New York City like they've done in the past decade, and a dozen other places, not to mention killing one another with a hyperbolic horror that Muslims know best, because more Muslims have killed other Muslims than any time they've committed acts of terrorism against the rest of the world, which is rather tragic unto itself. This is shameful, y'all. And sorry, but like my cousins, the Arabs, the Muslims need to work some shit out, because there are some sad superheroes you're supporting up in here. Free Palestine, maybe. But blame Palestine for blowing every chance they ever had at Palestine. You know what, my Arab cousins? Like, if you're hiding behind the jihadi freaking team flag, then like you really have hit a all-time low. And I'm sorry for that. It really sucks. I really empathize with the fact that your societies are as poor and war-torn and bellicose and tragic as they are. I do not want to go hang out in Damascus or Beirut right now, because you've turned your societies to shit through your own folly and your own misfortune. And the Palestinian dynamic has certainly challenged Lebanon. And you know what? This is why the Egyptians do not want to let Palestinians into their country. Read the writing on the wall, people. Like, if you're blaming the Jews and blaming the Jews and blaming the Jews, you're also missing 3 other directions where you're supposed to be looking. And we have plenty of weight, the Jews, whoever we are, the Jewish people, the state of Israel, has plenty to own up to and skeletons in our closet. You know what I mean? No one's denying that. But you have to also come down to the fact that the Palestinians are first and foremost not the only nation to go stateless. They are, second of all, have had plenty of chances at statehood. And they basically passed on the deal because it wasn't big enough to satisfy what they imagine they are entitled to. And I'm sorry, where it comes down to the fact that when the intellectuals and the leaders and the people with money of Palestinian society ran away before the war ever showed up, and people during wars run away like tens of millions across all of Europe, you're not the only people to have to run away from a war. I am sorry your cousins and your other clans and your own families and chamulot weren't kind enough and decent enough to repatriate you into other places around the vast, expansive Arab kingdoms. This is an Arabian problem. This is the Arabian people who have weaponized and bastardized and demonized the Jews as an excuse because you have a rallying call or a distraction from your own corrupt, decrepit, sad kingdoms. Not one of you has a high GDP that's worth mentioning other than petrocarbons. Not one of you has much to share in Nobel scholars and scientists and mathematicians because you're too busy squabbling amongst one another. And so, yes, it's easy to point the finger at the Jews. Congratulations to the Arabian people. You have brought anti-Semitism to life again. Hallelujah. You are able to claim once again to be the fucking sad characters of history who confront the Jewish people like Nazis or Romans or Greeks. I've vanquished all of my fucking enemies. I am here, a testament to the fact that the eternal people are alive and fucking well. John Adams said, I believe in miracles because the Jewish people are still alive and around. That was 250 some odd years ago that he said it. My people live and we bring life. And your jihadi cult of death and Allah Akbar before blowing yourself to bits or shooting and killing and murdering and raping your way to heaven is a very bankrupt philosophy. It's a sad ideology. It's a pitiful decree. And I pity you if that's what you celebrate. If that's what you have to offer the world and that's what you have to dance for the Moroccan football team that made it through the World Cup. Dance for the prospect of freaking I don't know what. My Arabian cousins, you are lost and well-meaning but somehow confused European American college kids and liberal pity Palestine people. I got news for you. There are other crises around the world 10 times worse. There are other people who would jump at the opportunities that the Palestinians have passed up for statehood, and the Kurds would freaking relish the opportunity to have a smaller piece of the pie than the Palestinians think than their imagination was theirs. Yes, we fought and beat and won and were cruel, and that's war. Live with it, die with it, but don't turn it into a freaking creed of eternal struggle, jihad revolution, because guess who's going to lose in the long run? You've already lost because your West Bank and Gaza could be paradise, but it's you who couldn't see the writing on the wall and the future was together. And you said, no, it's all mine. I have to kill for it and I deserve. And you couldn't figure out that the Jews are here and home to stay. You lost because you wouldn't share with us. And you lost because you wouldn't be with us. And now I hear you sadly as I walk around my village in the evening with music blasting from Jisr al-Sarqa, the Arabs, my neighbors, who should be good neighbors and could be good neighbors. But instead they'd rather have dance music and playing and singing and celebrating as the Jews mourn. So fine, I'll spit in your face and tell you to go where you can go. And I will turn back and mourn my fallen and my dead and my sisters and brothers because my people have a lifeblood about us and something to celebrate in the l'chaims and the weddings and the joy that the Jews have brought to humanity and to ourselves, that we deserve that joy. And so in this time of sorrow, we will weep and mourn. And tomorrow I will dance. For I am alive, and I am 3,000 years old, and I am an eternal people. And my Arab Palestinian cousins who have less than 100 years of peoplehood, or anything that might resemble, will have to one day wake up and read the writing on the wall. Because if you're celebrating jihadis, then your joy is truly tragic and sad. And I pity you, and I weep for you. And I really, really am sorry that this is something that your life and your life force are so weak that you would think that these are things to be celebrated. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for you. My people will continue to live and grow and build and strengthen our nation. And you will celebrate tearing down the pillars of society who have also built your European and Arabian nations. My people are the builders of the world, and we will continue to build and grow here in Israel and around the world. And the jihadis, we will have to blast away because they deserve not to live. And those of us who are builders will work together and cling together, and civilization has an opportunity to rally around the Jewish people as we confront the forces of darkness. I believe in my nation, and I believe we will persevere. Am Yisrael Chai. Amir Katz is my name.